Hey all, Wild Weather here for LiveWeatherBlogs.com. It's coming up on 9:30 on a Friday night, and here is your look at the current map of the United States. Lower 48 first. Cold air has been setting up shop here in the Four Corners and the Rockies. Uh, Quite a bit of snow cover here now with the mountains here and some warmer air, Chinook wind type things. A weak one at that right now, causing some warmer conditions here in Montana, and that might be a sign of things to come as this area here warms up. This warmth from the downslope of the Rocky Mountains and the developing of a southeast ridge is going to cause quite a bit of warming right anywhere in here. As a matter of fact, this bubble might get up here pretty quickly if a storm takes a turn into the Great Lakes, as some of the models are showing. It probably will end up being like that with a positive NAO. So basically, anywhere where I'm going to draw a line here, anywhere where I'm going with the cursor here, alright, get ready. It's going to get rather warm, and if you're south of a line of about here, temperatures in the 50s and 60s are coming. Snow lovers, nightmare for now. However, maybe we'll get a tease event tomorrow night, very small. But things by mid-month are looking up, so snow lovers, myself included, I love snow too, but I have to be real at the same time. No snow in the next week and a week and a half or so. And then maybe by the, I would say the 16th on, that seems to be the magic date for me as I put out the other night. All the way through the end of the month, things could get very active, especially sometime between the 18th and the 24th. We may be looking at a rather strong storm along the coast. Could be a snowstorm. It could be a rather large one. We'll see. It all depends on where the teleconnectors go. We'll take a look at that in a moment. I want to go up to Alaska. If you recall, up here in Alaska, it was in the 40s and 50s below zero in this area, just northeast of Fairbanks, and Fairbanks included was 40 below. They actually had temperatures about 3 or 4 days ago in Fairbanks up to 40 degrees, 44, 46 degrees here in Anchorage, which is now sitting at 30. As you can see, the cold air is starting to come back again, and it's a sign of what's going to be coming up later on. Um, this area will chill down quite a bit, and the East Coast will warm up quite a bit. And typically we have a seesaw going on here. So it's been cold down here in the lower 48 in the Delaware Valley along the East Coast, and when that happens, typically it warms up here, and that's what happened. It warmed up. Well, now we're going to relax the cold in the East Coast of the United States, and this area will chill down, and cold air will start to reload for the possibility that some of this cold air will come down mid-month, and it probably will. And just to be patient, my snow lovers, because honestly, December and early January, not a lot of snow usually falls in those months, with the exception of some years, say like 1996, as one of our bloggers had, but the 36-inch snowstorm. These things do happen, but remember, climatologically speaking, most of the snow in Philadelphia falls anywhere in late January, especially in the month late January, after about the 20th, 17th, to through and most of February being the snowiest month historically. Sun angles discontinued. Sun angles don't really become an issue until, say, after Valentine's Day, everyone. Um, Sun angles, though, can be a friend or a foe when it comes to snow. They do get those temperature gradients going, which causes larger storms. Remember, warmer air holds more moisture. It doesn't have to be 17 uh, 0 degrees for snow. In Philadelphia, your biggest snowstorms with temperatures in the upper 20s to around 30. Remember what happened in 2009, 2010. Let's go to the Climate Prediction Center. This is the, I hope I'm pronouncing this, but this is the MGO forecast, the Madden-Giuliani Oscillation. The Madden-Giuliani Oscillation right now starting in Phase 4. Phase 4 really not all that conducive for East Coast snowstorms. Get that, excuse me, get that combined with a positive NAO and an AO that's going to spike to positive, and a PNA is going negative. It's a snow lover's nightmare. But look what happens in time. We go to Phase 5, and then we start circling back into Phase 6. Okay? This is a good sign. This is from the GFS. To get the big giant storms and snows that we saw in 2009, we were moving through 7 and even a touch of 8, which is typical if you like to see East Coast snowstorms. Going from 4, which is not all that conducive for snow, we go to 5 and go to 6. Things can only look up and get better from here. That's the good news. So, say you want to know and find out where the excuse me, where the we're to search for the PNA. Hit search from the National Weather Service here, and you go down here to the function here. You're just going to type in NAO. When you type in NAO, you'll have the North Atlantic oscillations. Click on it, and boom, there you go. There's your North Atlantic observation. We're getting there closer, and you can see right now we're sitting in the positive range. You can see most ensemble members want to go negative, which is a good sign. You want to save this, click Save Image As, and then you can also download that onto Rob's site if you'd like. So that's the NAO. So what are the factors we're looking at? NAO going negative is a good sign. Let's take a look at that PNA. PNA. The PNA controls the Pacific, and the PNA is negative. In the East Coast, unfortunately, we oftentimes see a ridge. When the PNA is positive, we often see a trough. What happens on the West Coast correlates to what happens on the East Coast, usually just a few days later. So you can see a couple members are trying to go, one member in particular, one run, tries to go to +1. So, although we're dipping down, we have to watch and see what the trends are here in the next couple of days. Do we continue to stay hovering around neutral, which is not terrible? It's not great because we open up that Pacific for milder air. Or will we go to positive, which will cause a rather large trough along the East Coast? This, to me, is more the wild card because it's the PNA we really have had a hard time with this year. NAO has been negative, but recently positive. We'll see what happens with that. Now, the AO is the one that controls the cold air from coming down into the United States. I want to find the AO. It's the Arctic Oscillation. Arctic Oscillation here is peaking at almost a 3, which is going to be showing quite a lot of mild air. But look at this. I'm going to zoom in here. Some of the ensemble members crashing down to the -3, -4 range. This is sweet for cold air later down the road. Now, can we time this -3 and -4 with, say, a -1.5, -2 NAO? If that is the case, I think that may be enough to override the PNA, especially if it's neutral, to cause an East Coast snowstorm. And we will have to see. Look at that. January 16th. There's that magic date. Let's take a look at some of their models. Here's a GFS. I'm going to let it cycle out, but clearly there's the last frame. Here's Saturday night. A little speck of snow here left over from the El Paso, Texas snowstorm. Here comes that lake scutter. Ugh. Warm air. Look at this big southeast ridge here. Warm air. Here's a cold air crashing down. Very, very cold. Storms coming along. Look at this one off the coast here. Is it over here? Time will tell. Let's take a look at that again. Here comes the warm air flooding in across most of the United States. Big rainstorm, maybe even some better thunderstorms with that. Cold air comes down, frontal with a low pressure. Could it be a snowstorm? We'll see. Now, GFS on this run, which is the 12Z, looks it wants to become a little bit more progressive with this and not keep this pattern around. GFS has been tinkering around with this now for a couple of days. It locks the pattern in. It doesn't lock the pattern in. Do not get hung up on model run to model run. We need to take a look at the pattern overall. And down the road, say after about 180 hours, things may become more interesting in terms of snow and cold and tracking something coming up mid-month. Right now, it doesn't look so hot. In the meantime, between now and say, this time next week, someone probably between, say, Thursday and Saturday or Sunday could be basking in 50, 60 degree heat, warmth. I shouldn't say heat. So let's take a look. This is phillyweather.net, and this is Euro model. Here is the Euro model. This is out quite a bit, but here's that southeast ridge. I wanted to share this with you. This is 216 hours. Southeast ridge holding very strong. Philly Whiteout on our site was saying, where the heck did this southeast ridge come from? Well, I'll tell you what. I went down here and did a little research myself, and I saw that the ocean water temperatures along the Yucatan, right here in the Gulf of Mexico, Puerto Rico, you're talking 80, 85 degree water temperatures. Just tremendous warmth, folks, sitting down here, and that oftentimes gives way to a southeast ridge, and this is a rather large southeast ridge, and we don't want to see this hanging around too long, because look at that. That is just a tremendous warmth pump. This is something you often see in the summertime, folks. We're looking at a summertime pattern here, looking at a strong west-southwesterly flow of dry heat coming up from the Midwest. Probably looking at temperatures in the 90s here in the Delaware Valley, if it were summer. Here's your rain-snow line on well to the north. It's easily, here's a 10 degrees Celsius line, so This is in the upper atmosphere, so you know it's going to be warm at the surface. Look at that strong southeast ridge. But if you go out to 240 hours on this 2 p.m. run of the Euro, look at this. A wonderful storm here is going to. This is your kicker, folks. Here comes the cold air again. Here's your rain snow line, and it's charging through the Delaware Valley, moving east and southeast. Southeast ridge getting squashed down. West northwesterly flow taking over. Not conducive right away yet for a snowstorm, but look what's out here on the west coast. Euro has a hard time picking up on these southwest storms, but is it possible we get a trough digging down here? This little sucker comes underneath, catches up with here, and boom. Snowstorm possibility? You bet. It's a possibility down the road. This is later in mid-month, so we'll see what happens. Just keep it here and keep patient. Stay with us. Here's the latest radar. There's your snowstorm from New Mexico and Texas winding down here, weakening as she goes. It will spit out here, and just maybe we can squeeze out a few flurries or snow showers, especially in the Great Lakes here. Maybe a few sneak over the mountains. I'm not feeling so hot about this, and I'll tell you why. Let's go to the satellite here, and I'm going to go to the water vapor map. This is from hamweather.com. I go to the water vapor map. I'm going to do the 24-hour loop. Let it load here, 24-hour loop. And here she goes. There are storms leaving here, upper level support coming out. You already see it's getting shredded and pulled apart, but look at this strong west-southwesterly, westerly flow that's taken over. Should really shunt this off to the east very quickly, dampen it out. I don't see how a lot of precipitation can really make it over the Appalachians. GFS, NAM, tinkering around with 0.05 to 0.12 liquid at best, snow showers. Maybe a coating, maybe an inch, especially up in this area as a piece of energy from the northern branch comes down. Maybe it scoops up a little bit of moisture for northern PA over through New York City and through southeast New England. After that, folks, you can see to get the idea. Here comes the flow out of the southwest. Here comes the flow around a developing area of high pressure out here. Get ready, folks. This part of the country is going to be pretty toasty. Enjoy the warmth while you have it, because it'll be short-lived after the parade of storms comes crashing in through the west and we start tapping the northern jet stream. That's all I have for tonight, folks. Stay warm. It's modestly cold out there. Nothing over the top. Last night, the local Mets here were calling for 22, 24 degrees at night. I woke up to 34 degrees, so shows you what cloud cover can do. Clouds rolled in. Yeah, temperatures busted. What, 10 degrees? Yeah. Get ready, folks. Model mayhem will be coming back. Storms will be coming along the East Coast. Snow is on the way, mid-month. Don't write off winter. Don't hit the winter cancel button. Please be patient. We'll get something. All right. This is Wild Weather for LiveWeatherBlogs.com. Also, Winter Weather Workshop. I have a birthday party in the afternoon for my niece, but hopefully I can make it there, and I can be up there at Humeville on January 19th. If I'm saying that here, chances are I'm probably going to be there. This is Wild Weather for LiveWeatherBlogs.com.